Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here today to discuss about NXT July 6, 2021 Great American Bash. Gotta say this was a good show. Top to bottom, it was a very decent show. Very entertaining stuff. Probably slightly better than a takeover that's occurred recently. But it was not takeover, of course. I have to admit, the opener for the tag team title match is the only match I'm a little bit disappointed in. I think that ending was kind of shitty. I don't like the roll-up pinfall, as you guys know that, because it's happening so much lately on WWE television. Doesn't happen as much on AEW, but that maneuver is getting a little old, especially with Timothy Thatcher not being able to kick out of Wesley Lee's roll-up pinfall. I thought was a little bit pathetic, in my opinion. I mean, Timothy Thatcher is like twice the size of Lee, and he was unable to kick out of the rolling pinfall, or the roll-up pin, which I thought was absolute trash. So let's go over every match on the card, pretty much just giving you the overall basis of what I thought, from one being the, one being the shittiest of a match, and 5 being the absolute best. So let's go right into the very first match of the night. It was the NXT Tag Team titles with MSK versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. I actually thought Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher were going to win the tag team titles. Unfortunately, that was not the case. As I already mentioned, the roll-up pinfall took place at the end of the match in a very, very good matchup. I would have given it a 4 out of 5 stars. The only problem with this is the roll-up pinfall just killed it for me, so it's a 3 out of 5 stars. So it made it an average Joe match, even though at the end of the day, the entire matchup itself was a very, very entertaining and fun, enjoyable match to watch to kickstart the show. Next match on the card was LA Knight going up against Cameron Grimes. The winner would be the $1 Million champion, but if Cameron Grimes lost, he would end up being the butler to LA Knight. Dummy, yeah, I think so. Cameron Grimes ends up losing this match with a little bit of LA Knight's shenanigans outside the ring, with a DDT on top of the title that he introduced earlier into the match, trying to hit him with the belt, but unfortunately the referee was there to stop him in the middle of the process of trying to annihilate him with the belt. So that led from one thing to the next, eventually leading to LA Knight just hitting his finishing maneuver and getting the 1, 2, 3. I have to admit, this match was a very good match. Probably one of the better matches on the card, maybe. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. A really decent matchup overall. So I was really happy with that match. The next match on the card was the women's tag team title match with Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Shotzi Blackheart. What am I talking about? Io Shirai and Zoe Stark in a decent, okay matchup. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Tegan Nox kind of brought it down slightly a bit with the interference, but it was meant to hype up the rivalry that's meant to be built up between Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox, which should be a good one, and it makes a lot of sense since Candice LeRae put her out of action last year, I believe it was, or at least close to a year. And Zoe Stark and whatchamacallit, Io Shirai pick up the victory with Zoe Stark hitting her finishing maneuver on Indy Hartwell and getting the 1-2-3. And they are now your new women's tag team champions in NXT. Not that this is a big deal. The NXT women's tag team titles are pretty much useless in my opinion because they don't have a legit tag team division to really, compete over the belts. So not a big deal to me. The next thing on the card was the main event. And, I said it was 3.5 out of 5 stars, so it was an average match. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my attitude on this because I'm wrong. The women's tag team title match was not as good as the men, so I'm going to give the men a 3.5 out of 5 stars, the women a 3 out of 5 stars, because I got to be honest with myself, just because the ending kind of sucked with the roll-up pinfall. I got to give the men a lot more credit than women. The women were okay, but not as good as the men's tag team title match. Next thing on the card was the main event. It had Adam Cole, baby, versus Kyle O'Reilly in a grudge match. This was a solid main event, very entertaining stuff. Adam Cole picks up the victory. Hopefully, we don't see him move up to the main roster. I don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. We all know what's coming for Adam Cole's demise if he comes to the main roster. Let's just be honest. He'll be destroyed. They won't even push him or do anything with him. He'll be in catering, sucking down piles of food. So I just think that would be a terrible thing for him to go through when he could become like an NWO type of character on television and try to take over the entire WWE main roster with a group of guys. You could even reintroduce the Undisputed Era possibly with excluding Kyle O'Reilly. I think that would be a fucking waste. Or introduce new characters with Adam Cole as the new Undisputed Era if you wanted to do that. But I think Adam Cole would be better off with a group than by himself. He's always benefited in groups. If you look in his history with Ring of Honor, he's actually been with the Kingdom with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. He had the Bullet Club. He was part of that group, which is a very, very well-known group in New Japan and Ring of Honor Wrestling. They dominated the independent wrestling scene for a long time until a lot of the guys like AJ Styles, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and all of them leaving those promotions and moving on to other promotions really hurt the faction itself. They provided that kind of NWO-like faction that they had going on in New Japan Wrestling that we weren't getting here in the United States. But it is what it is. Bullet Club now is just a fucking complete waste of time. They're like NWO 2000, which is by far the worst you can possibly get. But yeah, bottom line, I think that Adam Cole's match with Kyle O'Reilly was really good. I don't think it was trash. I think it was slightly better than their TakeOver match that they had. So not a whole lot of complaints coming from me on my end on this pay-per-view, or I should say televised pay-per-view type of event. I will say this, there was a few other segments that I didn't cover here, so let me go over that. It has been announced that Johnny Gargano will be facing Karrion Kross for the World Championship, I do believe, next week. I might have misheard that while I was trying to do some stuff in the kitchen. But yeah, there's more than likely, I believe I'm correct. If I'm not correct, please let me know in the comments down below. But I believe Karrion Kross will be facing Johnny Gargano for his World Championship next week on NXT. So that's a lot to look forward to. Karrion Kross did mention a few things on there that really throws out to me that he's probably going to be moving the main roster real soon. And I'm going to mention some of my opinions or thoughts that they should do with him moving forward, if that's where they're going with this. One, Karrion Kross should not lose to Johnny Gargano, period. They should give Gargano the same kind of treatment that they gave him back in 2018. He had multiple opportunities to try to capture the world championship and was unsuccessful, and he worked really hard for it. And every time he tried to capture the world title, there was Tommaso Ciampa in his way. Well, this time there's no Tommaso Ciampa. There shouldn't be anyone interfering, of course. This should be Karrion Kross being that brick wall that Johnny Gargano's just having a hard time climbing over. And I think that's what needs to be done for this match to even work, number one. Number two, Gargano cannot win. That would be the worst thing that they possibly could do. As I already mentioned, it would hurt Karrion Kross heavily, and it would not make Karrion Kross look that good going into the main roster, I think. Not that it really matters. Number three, Karrion Kross, if he is moving to the main roster, he needs to keep his entrance the way it is. People are, flipping out about his entrance. There was nothing going on. He had a plain, ordinary entrance with him carrying the championship around his waist and so forth, and it just was boring and dull and blah, blah, blah. Let's think about this, folks. We're talking about the WWE main event episode. Why would they waste an entrance like that on a fucking main event episode? For a tryout match that more than likely with Shelton Benjamin was a squash match, number one. Number two, nobody fucking watches main event. They don't even make main event a thing. They don't even make main event anything important to people to go out and watch on Peacock. I was about to say the WWE Network, but they no longer exist, so you get my point there. But yeah, who the fuck would waste all that theatrical shit for a WWE main event? Everybody else is going crazy about it, blah, blah. I was laughing when people did that. I'm like, you guys need to chill out. When they bring him to the main roster and they put him on television and he's got that same exact entrance, then we have something to talk about. Until then, shut the fuck up and relax. I mean, that's retarded. They're not going to waste a fucking entrance like that on a show that nobody's going to be watching. I wouldn't do that. I'd just show off his in-ring ability with a guy like Shelton Benjamin, who's a fantastic wrestler, and show off what he can do in the ring, which I'm pretty sure he did a great job. I still have yet to see the in-ring match that he had with Shelton Benjamin, and it don't really matter, because I know for a fact Karrion Kross won. I would hope he didn't lose. So that's number three. Everyone needs to chill out about that shit. I know that was mentioned like 2-3 weeks ago, almost a month ago. Whatever. People need to just chill the fuck out and relax until we see him in the main roster and what they do with his entrance music. Now, the other thing that they might be doing that I particularly don't care for them to do is have him separate from Scarlett Bordeaux. I do not think that's a good idea. Scarlett is like Lana. She belongs with her husband. They have great chemistry. They do good stuff together on television as a group, as a team. Them being separated is a horrible idea. She is good as a manager. She doesn't need to be anything more than that. Period. Number 4. Here's another thing. The World Championship from NXT should not leave Karrion Kross's waist. Period. Even while he's on the main roster. Karrion Kross eventually needs to beat a lot of people. And while you got him on NXT defending the world title, you show him here and there once in a while on Raw or SmackDown. God help him if he's on Raw. And you have him beat some good talent. You don't make him pushed into any major program. You have him kick some ass, have him cut some promos, show some vignettes about his character, what he is, what he's about, and give him a winning streak. And then once you finally have been fed up of Karrion Kross being world champion, you have him just drop the title and vacate the belt. Say, hey, look, man, I've done everything here. I've beaten all the challengers I could possibly beat. I've beaten the absolute best NXT has got to offer. You have him drop the fucking title. That's it. Vacate the belt, and that's all. Move on to the main roster, and then get into a strong program with someone on the main roster. That's all they gotta fucking do with Karrion Kross. It's that freaking easy. There's no way you can fuck this up. That's number one. Number two, the other portion of that is, if they're doing that, this is moving to actually number 5, technically. Karrion Kross, after he drops the fucking title, needs to be focused on one thing and one thing only, being on a complete undefeated streak on the main roster, which he already established based on my progression of what I would do with Karrion Kross on the main roster while he's still defending the NXT World Championship. So, you move into the mid-card championship title, like the Intercontinental or U.S. Championship. You have him beat whoever that is. Have him kick some fucking ass. And move him into the main event scene against Roman Reigns and have him beat Roman Reigns' ass for the Universal Championship. That is the guy who I project to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns for the Universal title. By the time you get to that point, Roman Reigns has had the title for almost 2 fucking years. That's what I'm projecting. So there you go. That's what I would say to do with that. But Karrion Kross losing to Johnny Gargano, hell no to the no. I would never do that to him. I would never have Johnny Gargano go over Karrion Kross based on how good of a wrestler Karrion Kross is and how big and strong the guy is. He's a fucking monster. All right, and the last thing on the show, and then I'm going to hang this up, is Hit Row is doing a celebration, which I don't give 2 flying fucks about. Thought it was trash. It absolutely sucks. And Dexter Lumis, after the match of the NXT Women's Tag Team title match, we had fucking Dexter Lumis show up to pick up Indy Hartwell, and we're moving right back into this storyline for no fucking apparent reason. When afterwards, Dexter Lumis was caught hugging another woman, and Indy Hartwell was pissed off about it, and Dexter Lumis thought that they were done. So, whatever. All those small little things really didn't matter on this show. The 4 matches that took place were the important thing. That's what this show is about. Wrestling-based show is what this was all about tonight. Or last night, I should say. And that's all there is to it, guys. So hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And also keep an eye out for AEW Dynamite July 7, 2021 that I'll be uploading later on tonight, immediately following the show. So keep an eye out for that. They will be performing in front of a live crowd in Miami, Florida, my hometown. So look for that, and I will speak to you guys later on tonight. Thanks again for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.